bring on our next guest. So this guy loves food. He loves going to the press boxes around the NFL and showing us all the different food they have there. His name is Ross Tucker. He's talking Eagles on social media at Ross Tucker NFL and joining us to talk about the Birds, a 4-0 start, and, of course, this A.J. Brown situation. How are we doing, Ross?
Ross.
I am fantastic. How are you guys doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. So, Ross, what do you make of all this drama right now that is the Philadelphia Eagles?
Not much. I don't know, man. I got to be honest with you guys. I'm so glad I don't have to talk about it for 4 hours every day. I'll give you my 15 minutes, and I guess whatever Joe and John ask me tomorrow morning at 7:30. But
well, I wonder what that'll be.
Yeah, you know what's funny?
What's that?
Like whatever. I guess that was a Bible verse that he posted.
It was, yes.
Where he said. I don't want to quote it exactly, but it was
be silent. You know, if they don't hear you, just leave.
Don't make a scene.
Yes. Yeah, basically.
And it made a scene.
That's exactly what he did. I'm so confused by posting something that says "don't make a scene" when he knows fully well that's exactly what he's doing. And forget even A.J. Brown, right? Because I gave up trying to figure out wide receivers a long time ago. It's a heavily dependent position. They need a lot to go right to get the ball. The quarterback has to throw it to them. Play caller has to have a play dialed up for them. O-line has to block. Defensive coordinator can't double them. I mean, I get that, right? But if after this segment, okay, I had a problem with something, I would not go on social media and say, don't ask me to come on your show if you don't know Taylor Swift from my hometown, or something like that, right? Like something. Remember, because Hugh didn't know that the whole year last year. Remember, Hugh every single week, Kyle would play a Taylor Swift song, and every single week Hugh would be like, "I don't know, is it Ray Didinger? I don't know.
Why I gotta sound like that though, Ross?
No,
but I appreciate this. Ross is taking it out on the air instead of social media.
The point is this,
Ross.
No, the point is this: if I had any issue with any of you guys, first of all. At worst, I would text you or call you directly afterwards and talk to you about it. But I'd probably just say it right now. I'd probably just make fun of you like I just did. And say it right now. Like I don't understand. I guess they call it subtweeting. I'm not a subtweeter. I don't know. I'm probably 20 years older than A.J. Brown, so maybe I just don't get it.
Yeah, it was different for us.
Right, and maybe he just wants the attention. Like maybe he wants. But I'm so confused. They threw him the ball 9 times. Okay, he is making $33 million a year. They won the Super Bowl last year. They're undefeated. I would say as far as timing goes, this would be at a minimum bad timing. I was thinking about this earlier today. I was looking at my pinky, and I was trying to decide how much of my pinky would I let you cut off to be as unhappy as A.J. Brown is right now. $33 million. I just won the Super Bowl. We're undefeated. At least the tip of my pinky you could gladly have to be as upset with whatever's going on as AJ is. And he's a phenomenal player. And I like that he wants the ball. And I like that he wants to dominate. But I don't like the way he goes about it, and I'm never gonna.
Ross, I agree. It's getting to the point where I'm just tired of it. I mean, it feels like every 3 weeks we're doing this over the course of 2 years where they barely lose a football game. This is the best era of Eagles history, in Eagles history, and we're doing this every couple weeks. It's frustrating. Ross, I want to ask you specifically about some things going on with the offense, because it's not really good right now, right? The points scored are fine, and they're obviously 4-0, but you look under the hood a little bit, and there's a lot of problems. I mean, they are towards the bottom of the NFL in yards per play. They have the worst 3-and-out rate in the NFL, which is mind-boggling considering there is a bunch of teams at the bottom that have young quarterbacks that are just trying to figure things out, like the Tennessee Titans. We have the worst one in the league. Ross, specifically, I'm curious what you think of the offensive line play so far this season. It doesn't feel to me that it's been as great as it typically is. And I know there's some circumstance there, including Lane Johnson going out of 2 straight games and not coming back in. Ross, what are you seeing up front? Is it slippage? Is it just a blip? What do you notice from the offensive line, and how much is that contributing to what's going on?
Well, as a reminder, you don't ever just kind of pick up where you left off from the season before. And the Eagles clearly haven't. And if you remember last year, it was not good the first month of the season. And they were 2-2, and maybe fortunate to be 2-2 after that Saints game, although they probably should have won the Falcons game and blah, 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 blah. But, one of the marks I've always said of a really good team in the NFL is when they win, even when they're not playing their best. So that part of it is encouraging. What's discouraging is the run game. Here's how I look at it. When Saquon gets hit in the backfield, there's only three possibilities there. Number one, the offensive line really screwed up. Number two, Hurts, if he had the ability, should have checked into a different play. Or number three, the defense just kind of got him. And that happens sometimes, right? Like they call corner blitz. You're running outside that way. Nobody's expecting a corner blitz. Okay. In terms of Saquon not breaking longer ones, I think some of that, and I'll be the first one to tell you, the offensive line is not playing as well as they did last year. But a lot of that ends up being receivers, digging out, safeties, blocking down the field, and tight ends. They had elected for a lot of the first part of the season so far to have Calcaterra out there a lot, and he's not a very effective blocker. That has hurt them at times. I also think teams are playing them with more two deep safeties. Last year, it was more, hey, let's get the extra guy in the box to stop Barkley. Now it's more, we don't want Barkley to get a long run, so let's still have two deep safeties, but let's cheat him. And so that, so when you see him having a couple of these 7 or 8 yard runs, a bunch of them last year were like 78-yard runs, but they've changed up their strategy for how they're defending the Eagles a little bit better.
Ross Tucker with us here as we talk through the Eagles, a 4-0 start, but obviously some issues on the offense side of the ball. Ross, let's talk about the defense. What did you make of Sunday? Because I think there's two ways to look at it. Boy, they're giving up some big plays. But the way I looked at it Sunday was they played well most snaps in that game on Sunday. And I just feel like their best players are making huge plays. I mean, I thought Quinyon was amazing. Cooper, Jahad Campbell's a playmaker, and Zach Bond, he was all over the field. What did you make of a defensive performance that you can almost look at in one of two ways on Sunday?
Well, I'm more of a positive guy, so I will certainly look at it more from the glass half full. Quinyon Mitchell, there's a chance that he's already the best corner in the league. I mean, he's certainly in the conversation with Patrick Surtain as well as, Stingley. I've seen those guys a lot this year already. They're really good. They have a longer track record and history than Mitchell. But what he did on Sunday, that was like Revis stuff. I mean, that was phenomenal by him. Absolutely phenomenal. And then DeJean is such a positive impact on the defense with what he's able to do to make those critical tackles in space, how quickly he does it. I love the big plays that Ajomo made. We're still getting stuff from Jordan Davis. Ajomo had the big sack, but Jalen Carter was the one that picked off the guard, ran through the center to set up Ajomo. So even though Carter might not have the stats, he's still having an impact. I don't know enough about Jahad Campbell being on Bucky Irving man-to-man. I think that's a bad matchup. As good as Jahad Campbell is, that was a tough spot to put him in. And then Makuba just screwed up. I mean, Makuba, that should be an interception. Based on his track record at Texas in the preseason and so far this year, I would expect Makuba to intercept that pass, not give up a 70-yard touchdown.
Ross, I'm kind of curious because this has been talked about a lot as well. When you watch A.J. Brown, does it look like he's lost a bit of a step?
That's a really good question, Hugh. And the first couple weeks, I was thinking, man, I don't know that he looks quite as explosive. Maybe he's not 100% healthy. And then the second half against the Rams happened, and I was like, okay, forget it. He's fine. But he was more, Deboing guys. I think that would be, would be worth it? There's got to be a place you can get this. We got to have somebody listening. Hit me up on social media at Ross Tucker NFL. Let's get the GPS tracking numbers for A.J. Brown. Seriously. I think
you talking about from last year to this year?
Speed,
As far as I know, those are accessible. I mean, I know they are for us on the broadcast, so I think that they're publicly accessible. Let's just see it. What has been his top speed on the GPS this year compared to last year? What is he hitting consistently? I mean, there's a way to find this out, I feel like.
I think you're right. The one thing we saw, and we were talking about earlier in the show, was ESPN Analytics does an open score where they kind of rate the player. How open is he? And that's down from recent years. But again, it's 4 weeks, so it's kind of tough to know. But I agree. I'd love to see the stats on what you're talking about.
Joe, let me just chime in there real quick. Anecdotally, when you think about him on the in-breaking routes or the slants, usually he's open, the guy's trailing, the guy kind of dives his legs or try to wrap him up at the legs, and AJ can run through it. This year it feels like those have been hotly contested catches at the catch point, and there have been times where his strong hands and frame have been able to make the catch, but it does not feel as if he's had that half step on the guy like he has the last couple years.
I agree. Ross, let's end with this. This coming Sunday, in come the Denver Broncos, a team, a lot of hype before the season started. They won their first game, and then they dropped 2 before a big performance last night. So they come in here at 2-2. We first thought on the matchup, but it seems to me like they've got a lot of talent there. This feels like it will be a challenge for the Eagles. They're favored. I think everyone's going to expect them to win. But what do you think of the Denver Broncos coming here Sunday against the Eagles?
Yeah, I think I said this during the power rankings on the Ross Tucker podcast today. I think they're the best 2-2 team in football, you could argue, which is saying a lot when you think about a team like the Chiefs. I recognize that. But their 2 wins at home have been absolutely dominant. Their 2 losses, they lose to the Colts, who are very good, on the road because they hit the snapper on a missed 60-yard field goal. Otherwise, they win that one. And then they also lost to the Chargers, who are also 3-1, who Herbert just made a ridiculous play at the end of the game to win that one. If Nix plays like he did last night, they're clearly a top 10 team, and they are going to give the Eagles a handful because their defense, we were talking about the offensive line earlier, their defense, Zach Allen inside, but then Nick Bonito and Cooper coming off the edge, they are legit with Surtain. This is going to be, I'd be surprised if this isn't exactly like the other games have been, which is an absolute battle until the end. And honestly, I think if the Eagles do this thing again where they only play one good half on offense, there's a really good chance they would lose. They need to at least play a good 3 quarters on the offensive side of the ball.
It's going to be a fun one. Eagles-Broncos Sunday, big challenge at 1 o'clock. Ross, we appreciate you hopping on. Have a great week, and we will catch up next time. Thank you, Ross.
Sounds great. See you guys.
Have a good one.
There he goes. Ross Tucker there.